Along with the delicious sourdough bread that I made in the last video, you might want to try my pasta sauce. The smell will have your belly growling before it is complete. This is one of those recipes that you have to have. Most homesteaders grow lots of tomatoes, so what do you do with them all? When they are all coming in at the same time of the year and you seem to be overwhelmed with them? Well, you could always make a bunch of tomato sandwiches, but you can also make this amazing pasta sauce. Once you make it, you can can it to store on your shelf long term. I start out by placing tomatoes in a pot of very hot water. I do this to be able to remove the skins. It only takes a minute or so, and I remove the tomato from the water. I do let it cool a bit, and then I remove the skins. I make sure to cut out any bad spots on the tomatoes and cut into pieces. I place the tomato pieces into a large crock pot. For my recipe, I use 20 tomatoes. I then take garden fresh onions and chop them into slices. I use about 3 onions. On a side note, take time to wipe your eyes because the onions will make you cry. I then take our fresh garden bell peppers and slice them. I use 2 to 3 depending on their size. Don't forget to save those seeds. I then chop up 2 to 3 stalks of celery. Now, not everyone wants celery in their pasta sauce, but for me, I like it. You can basically add or delete whatever you like in this recipe. I am not a big fan of mushrooms. I don't like the texture of them, but I know that they are very healthy. I have this and I'm going to use it up. This is powdered mushrooms. I would love to grow mushrooms in the future, dry them and crush them into a powder and make my own. I'm going to add about a teaspoon worth of this mushroom powder. It's parsley time. I add about a tablespoon. And then I take some dried oregano from the garden and add salt and pepper. I'm not much of a spicy fan, however, I know that cayenne has amazing health benefits. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon. Now is the time for garlic. If you haven't seen my video on preserving garlic in apple cider vinegar, you need to watch it. I take 10 cloves out of my jar and mince it. I first use this handy roller that takes the skins off and then crunch it with this garlic mincer. This is the same tool I used when I made egg salad. I made a video on this also. This is later in the day, so I am going to put this in the refrigerator overnight. In the morning, I'll put this on low with the lid on for about 6 hours. And then for 2 more hours with the lid off. When you leave the lid off, it will help the liquid of the tomatoes evaporate, and you will have a thicker pasta sauce. If you prefer your pasta sauce to not be so chunky, you can blend this when it has cooked down and you will have a wonderful sauce. Okay, so you have pasta sauce now. You can immediately eat it or you can can it. If you water bath can this, you will get 3 to 4 quarts. But to be honest, it doesn't usually last long enough for it to get canned because it is that good. This is so much healthier and tastier than grocery store bought pasta sauce. You have to try it. If you do decide to can it, you can do this with water bath canning. Water bath canning is fairly easy. I love using my Tatler lids for this. I simply fill very clean jars with the sauce, leaving about an inch of headspace. I wipe the rim and place the lid and seal on the top. I set these pre-warmed jars in a pot of water. I'm doing quart jars, so I make sure the pot is tall. The water needs to come about an inch or more over the top of the jar lid. Make sure there is a canning rack in the bottom of the pot. I process these jars for 45 minutes after it comes to a rolling boil. This time will all depend on your altitude. Once completed, I set all the jars on a towel on the countertop overnight. Always make sure the lids have sealed and then place on your shelf for storage. Let me know in the comments below if you decide to make this. SHTF Survival Homestead Teaching Farm thanks you for watching this video. Please continue to help us help you by liking, sharing, and subscribing.